Let's talk.
Giles Brown.
We come to the stage of the show where we do our usual look at trying to demystify the Spanish tax system. So if you want to get involved with the show and any questions during the next 26 minutes or so, these are the numbers.
To contact TRE, please call 952 78 4000. Email studio@tre.radio. Send us a WhatsApp on +34 645 99 67 95. Message us on Facebook, Talk Radio Europe Official, or tweet us at TRE Talk Radio.
And so on this morning, we're going a brand new episode, two new things, a brand new episode of Labour Rights in Spain. And today we've got a brand new person in the studio. I'm delighted to say that we've been joined by Martina Navarro. She is the manager of the commercial department by Spence Clarke. She's not been on this show today. She's here to give insights on the labour laws in Spain. And obviously you drew what we call the very short straw. It's a pleasure to have you on this show. Martina, how are you doing?
Hi, Giles. Thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited to be here and to be able to share with you some important insights on Spanish labor laws. So today we're going to cover some pretty important topics about the legal framework for both employees and employers in Spain. Okay,
we can do that. We've received some questions from the listeners on the run to this about the labour laws in Spain because they are interesting. Let's dive right in. First up, because there's a lot of talk around this. So what are the main legal sources that regulate the labour laws in Spain?
Well, that's a great question, actually. Labor law in Spain is based on several legal sources that aim to protect employees' rights while at the same time try to define the responsibilities of the employers. So the main ones are, first of all, the Spanish Constitution. This is the highest and most fundamental legal framework. And on its Article 35, it guarantees that work is a right and that it should be treated as such and not as a privilege.
Okay.
Then we have the Employee Statute. This is the cornerstone of labor law, and it regulates employment relationships, employees' rights, labor contracts, and it sets out the minimum rights that employees must provide to employers must provide to their employees. Yes. Then we have the Convenios Colectivos de Trabajo. These are in addition to the statute.
This is the collective bargaining agreements, yeah?
Exactly. Okay. That's it. These are sector-specific collective agreements. These are negotiated by trade unions and employers and regulate the conditions, but in certain sectors. So these agreements can be at a regional, national, or company level.
Okay.
And finally, we have company-level agreements, which are internal. These are negotiated between employees' representatives within their own company and set out different rules or working conditions, but within their own workplace. So any company can choose, if they want, to have an internal company agreement.
Okay. So that, because a lot of people think that there are a lot of levels here, there's a lot of protection. But I suppose that is both for employees and employers. So if we talk about the employees for a second, what is one key aspect of the Spain's labor laws if you're an employee?
Well, one of the biggest advantages is that there's a strong protection for employees in the Spanish labor laws. This ensures stability and security for employees. For example, employees are entitled to minimum wages, regulated working hours, paid vacation, paternity and maternity leave. And probably the most importantly is that there's protection against unjust dismissals. So this creates kind of a secure environment, mostly for employees within the laws in Spain.
Okay, so that sort of handles the. I mean, yeah, we know. I mean, it used to be they used to get double pay at Christmas and double pay back in the old days before you were born. But anyway, so that's there are some excellent employee laws, which is great if you are working for a company. But if you are on the other side, if you're an employer, there are some hurdles, some downsides maybe for if you are setting up a company or for employers in Spain.
Yes, there are actually. For employers, one of the main drawbacks is the rigidity of the contracts and also the procedures surrounding dismissals. Compared to other countries, Spanish labor laws are very strict when it comes to finishing employment or ending a contract. So unjust dismissals can be very costly for employers, as they might have to pay severance and also compensation. And one of the main drawbacks too is for this that the dismissal procedure is very complex, so if employers don't follow the procedure correctly, they could end up paying a lot of penalties or significant financial issues because of not following the procedures right. So this can be very tough for businesses, especially when they are going through an economic crisis. Maybe they need to dismiss some employees, and this could make things way more difficult for them.
It's not just a question of doing your Donald Trump in The Apprentice and going, "You're fired," and get out.
It's not as easy. No, it's not as easy as that.
Okay, all right. So be advised. The rules around dismissal are something, obviously, that we need to pay attention to. Contracts now. These are really interesting, especially casual work, etc. So let's talk about the types of employment contracts. What's the most common type of contract in Spain?
Well, the most common type is the indefinite contract. This contract has no end date, and this offers stability for both employees and employers, which is very good. And it's the one that is most widely used in Spain because the labor laws favors indefinite contracts mostly when there's need for a long-term relationship. Mm-hmm. Of course, there are other types of contracts, as training contracts or temporary contracts, but the indefinite one still remains the one that is mostly used in Spain.
I suppose the thing is, what the industry and the employer and the employee, what everybody wants from this is stability. So the government knows who's paying what tax into the system, when it's coming in, etc. So that provides stability for both sides. But what are the advantages of temporary contracts for you if you are working? If you are employing people, if you're an employer, what's the benefit?
I mean, if you choose to go with a temporary contract, it's way more flexible, and this one is very used particularly for seasonal kind of work.
Right.
For example, for agriculture, if you need to people just for one period to collect fruit, for example, this type of contract is way more beneficial because it allows you to contract and hire people just for that certain period of time. It's also widely used for project-based tasks, or for trial periods when you need people just for a certain amount of time. One thing I wanted to also add to this is that in the past, many companies that needed long-term relationship contracts use the temporary contracts and keep renewing them in time. This, by now, the laws have started to encourage people to use the indefinite contract instead. So the temporary one is only used when it's actually needed for seasonal reasons and for specific types of companies and businesses.
I suppose because the reason being, if you keep if you wanted to have, say, if you keep doing temporary contracts all the time, it might be a little easier to dismiss the employee.
Exactly, and it reduced costs.
And before, like 20 years ago, maybe you could do that before, but of course now everything is automated. People know, and as we know,
it has been regulated enough, so that's why it's widely used now, the indefinite contract, because for long-term relationship, it's the one you should use.
Yeah, okay, so the flexibility is good. What about the downside when it comes to definite contracts?
Well, one of the most important ones is the higher costs, because in addition to the salaries, employers must cover severance pay in case they decide to end the contract.
Is this the finiquito? Is this the famous
Yes,
finiquito?
exactly, the famous finiquito, yeah. But also you have to pay Social Security contributions, and employees also have other benefits like additional vacation time, which all adds up to the cost that the employer must cover. Also, I would like to add on this that there are different types of dismissal which have different costs for the employer. You have the despido objetivo,
right,
or the improcedente. So the objetivo is when the company has reasons for example, economic reasons or technical reasons, a restructure taking place, or maybe technology replacing employees in the workplace. So you don't need that people anymore. You get to dismiss them with an explanation because of company's needs. And in this case, you have to pay severance for 20 days per year worked.
Yep.
And in the case of the unfair dismissal, it would be called in English. It's when there are no business causes that require the dismissal of the employee, and in this case, you have to pay 33 days per year worked.
So unfair dismissal is okay. So if your business is the relocate, like the job is, you've got 3 guys working on your thing, and you get a machine in that takes out 2 guys. So that's the first case. Unfair dismissal, just saying we don't need you then.
Yes, you fire the employee without a reason that can be proved,
right.
At least.
So if they haven't been doing that, if they haven't been doing their job,
yes,
but
it shouldn't be this option.
Yeah.
But if you don't have enough sources to prove it, you might have to apply for this, pay some extra days
right.
for the year worked to finalize the situation. But anyway, in these cases, we strongly recommend seeking professional advice because this can be very tough to deal with. So it's good to look for advice and see which one applies in your case.
It's the union. Is it the CC2? The TU, isn't it? That the workers' union that gets involved with these sometimes? No, or
yeah, it might. But I'm not sure.
Okay, so this is something that employers need to consider. So here's a question: how much higher are labour costs in Spain than compared to an employee's gross salary?
Well, on average, labor costs in Spain can be around 30 to 40% higher than an employee's gross salary. So this is a big difference. And this is mainly because employers are responsible for social security contributions payments, insurance, and other labor-related costs. So all these additional expenses can really add up, especially for small and medium-sized businesses.
That's why people want to have contracts, because because there's so much paid into the system.
Yes, you always have to consider a 30 or 40% additional on top of what you agree with your employee.
That's quite a bit more. Now, explain this one, ERTE, because this was when the thing that we cannot mention, the pandemic hit a few years ago. This was I had never heard of ERTE, and then the name
became famous.
Yes. So, the ERTE, what does that actually mean? It's the expediente. What is it exactly?
Yes, it's Expediente de Regulación Temporal de Empleo. That's what ERTE means, but it's actually, to put it easily, it's a measure that businesses in Spain can use to temporarily suspend employees' contracts or reduce their working hours due to extraordinary circumstances such as an economic crisis, a temporary drop in activity, or unexpected events, such as you said, the COVID-19 pandemic. So the big advantage of the ERTE is that it allows businesses to cut costs without permanently laying off the employees. This helps maintain a strong workforce for when the situation improves, you can take them back to work.
That's important, but obviously as an employer, I can't only say, okay, I'm having a crisis, we're going to have an ERTE.
No, it's not as easy as that.
Okay.
No, there's long procedures to obtain it.
So explain to me then, if I can't have my own ERTE, because I'm having a crisis all the time, as you can see, what are the main 2 types then of ERTEs?
Okay, as you say, there are 2. The first one is the one for fuerza mayor, or for unexpected events. This is used exactly as it says, when unexpected events or an extraordinary cause, such as natural disasters, pandemics, or similar situations happen. The benefit of this type of ERTE is that it's way quicker and it's less bureaucratic because it needs to attend people needs at time of crisis. Okay. So it's not easy to apply for it, but it's way faster and it's a bit more simple than the second one.
And that's presumably because there's been a big unexpected crisis and they need to now.
Yeah, you need to respond fast.
Right.
The second one is for economical, technical, organizational, or production reasons. So this type is used when a company faces internal problems, like a financial loss, restructuring, or reduced demand, but not due to an extraordinary event. In these cases, the procedure is longer and you might need many documents and proof that you are going through one of these issues. and that you need the help of an ERTE.
So if you have a factory and you have a bad crop or something and you're failing behind because you can't meet there's something happening in the business that isn't a natural disaster, but for some reason your business projection has gone lower, rather than sack 50%, get rid of, dismiss 50% of the staff, you can apply for an ERTE as a business.
Exactly.
Right, okay.
Exactly, you can.
So what's the main advantage then of using an ERTE?
Well, the main advantage is the economic flexibility, because the ERTE allows businesses to reduce their labor cost without firing the employees. This way, they can bring employees back when the situation gets better without also having maybe to dismiss them, which is expensive, and also then having to rehire people back when the bad period is over.
Because
also,
there've been new contracts, there've been even more bureaucracy to go through, presumably. Yeah.
Exactly. Just one more thing is that with ERTE, the benefit that you have is that you stop paying the employees' salaries. All the employees that are included in the ERTE, but you still have to pay their social security contribution. That is something important to keep in mind, that social security contributions are still to be paid, but you put the employees on unemployment temporarily, so you don't have to cover the salary part.
Sure. Okay. So but the junta is presumably is it a junta thing or a central government thing? The ERTE, it comes from.
It's central government.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fine. Okay. So what are the benefits for the employees then? Is presumably they can still get all the benefits they need to. So they're not, if they get ill, they're not going to lose their social security for
Exactly. Employees affected by the ERTE will be able to receive the unemployment benefits, even if they haven't met the criteria to apply for unemployment. Generally, if everything were normal, employees to access to unemployment benefits would have to at least work a year within the last 6 years. But in this case, even if you have worked 3 months, you could be included on the unemployment benefits if an ERTE is applicable. And also, their contributions will still be made to the Social Security. So this ensures that their pension and other benefits are not impacted during the time they are assigned on the ERTE.
Okay, well, that's reassuring for you if you're working for a firm. Now, you mentioned a little bit earlier on about natural disasters. Things that come unexpectedly. And obviously, Valencia region and to a certain extent Malaga got hit by the Dana, which is, it's not the name of the storm, it's the depression at high levels.
Yes.
Severe flooding, as we know, material damage. The response has been magnificent. But what is the impact been on local businesses, and how's the ERTE? I presume this is the sort of thing that the ERTE was designed for.
Exactly, it is, absolutely. So the Dana has hit the Valencia region hard with floods and severe weather, and this has disrupted the normal businesses' operations. So in emergencies like this, when businesses are forced to shut down due to damage, logistic problems, or a drop in demand, the ERTE is an essential tool to face these problems in the actual time, without having to lay off employees and until they get afloat. So this already happened in 2019 with the floods that many companies in sectors as hospitality, construction, retail, they have used these ERTEs for fuerza mayor to suspend contracts temporarily. So this way they can recover more easily without all the salaries costs. And once the situation is sorted out, the weather clears out, they can bring back the employees and keep their business operations as normal.
And unlike other things, this was something they went straight away, and it's working straight away for them. It wasn't delayed. It was bam. The ERTEs have been put in place so that the business.
Yes, for the Dana, they have responded quite fast. Actually, there are still some things coming out, but a lot of companies have already applied to the ERTE, so it's working well. It's possible to apply. And also what they are doing with Social Security contributions, as we said, that these are still to be paid. And as the Dana happened at the end of October, that could be a problem because it was together with the deadlines for paying Social Security contributions. So now they are giving the possibility of postponing those Social Security payments. So even though the company still has to assume those, you have the chance to postpone it for December or future months, or even to split it in installments to help the companies not to have to assume this cost now when they might be out of operation because of the Dana.
Okay, that is good news. Now, as always, as always, if you have your own company and you're used to doing business in another part of the world, as I always say to Claudia, Spain is different. The rules that apply to other Northern European countries don't apply in the same way as they do in Spain. So presumably the best thing to do is, before you even think about taking on employees for your business, for your factory, for your shop, whatever you've got, is to come and speak to yourself.
Yes, well, of course. We are always open to receive any questions. We are here to help. You can always contact us for advice in these cases. We're working at Spence Clarke. I think you mentioned it at the beginning. And whenever these situations come up, you can always contact us to seek for legal and tax advice for all these situations. We highly recommend it because sometimes people just go on their own and do things, and it's very complex in Spain. So we totally recommend that you look for advisors, and you can visit our webpage at spenceclarke.com, and you can contact us through there. You can give us a call, and we will be happy to help you out with any of your doubts.
And also, by the way, check out the blog, because the blog on Spence Clarke is excellent. They've got a really good Q&A session. Any more information, go to the website, that's spenceclarke.com. Martina, can I just say, for your first time on radio, that was absolutely excellent. Thanks for explaining. I heard the word finiquito and lots of people go, Martina Navarro, from manager of the commercial department at Spence Clarke, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you for having me. I had a great time. Thanks, and I hope to come back soon.
We will see you soon.
Okay, thank you.
TRE, your voice in Spain.